friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate, and today we are wrapping up with the Tula pink butterfly quilt that we have been doing I guess since fall of 2022, and this is I want to say the end of the sew along. And if you have been sewing along with me, I thank you very much. And if you've been watching with the focus of starting later, this is what your quilt will look like. So I think I told you in the beginning that I was going to be using a different background, and I think this background came out I like it. I think it kind of the blocks, it helps the block to float, and that's the way I wanted it to look. I wanted my blocks to just kind of pop out from the background without the green. And honestly, green is my least kind of favorite color. So I don't know, maybe I just wasn't a fan of the green, but I think the green is a very nice color. It's just not something that I would want to have on the back of on the background of something like this, because it's a lot of color, and I think the green for me will compete with my work. That's why I chose the background that I chose, which is also a tiny dot with the bright pink dot on the background, and it's a little creamy white. So I think it's nice. So this is what my whole quilt look like. I am going to kind of go to the bottom there from the top down so you can see what it looks like right there. And maybe now you can take a screenshot of the points and the colors. So my tip on this one is, think about when you're reading a book. So when you flip from the right side to the left side, it is different word, but it flips and it matches exactly to the left side of the book that you are reading. So the reason why I'm saying that is because the points that have square triangles, the points on the left side are pointing upward, like left upward, and then the right side is pointing right. The point is pointing to the right upward, right? So when you're putting your points, just think like, okay, you know what? It's a page being turned, and it's just gonna be like the exact same thing on the left is what you're going to do on the right. And keep in mind that like for example, the top left corner, they're all purple. If you mix it, if you mix the colors up, it's still purple. It's not, I don't think it's going to matter for me. I think I've worked so hard at putting the blocks together and making sure that I do justice with this quilt, that the finishing touches were a little bit important to me to make sure that I get it right. And I wanted to convey that to you. If that's something that you are working towards, that you can take a screenshot of this and kind of use it as a color guide when you are putting yours together. So that's what mine looks like right now. I'm gonna just kind of go to the bottom so you can see, and I'm not trying to make you sick with the moving of the screen of the camera. So that's what the bottom part looks like. Oh, that's my other machine right there hanging. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to put all this together, and let me show you, okay? So I'm going to put these, they're not sewn together right now, so I'm gonna put them together, and then the points, all these points right here have to match, right? So when you're sewing them, there's a point right here, for example, they have to match. And this right here, there's a point here that have to match. So if you're not a pinner, this is an exercise for you to pin. Like for example, this is a weird one right here, and then the points will have to meet with this. So I will pin right there. And this is example, and this is the reason why from the beginning that I sewed all of my seam, I sew them open. So that's so that way when I'm sewing at the end, it will all match up. And for example, let me move over here. For example, the same thing over here. This little teeny tiny ones right here, like this doesn't matter, but this point right here have to match, okay? And then for example, all this right here, I've sewn them open, so you have to match your points. For example, right here, this point and this point have to match. Do they all have to match? No, because this is a handmade product. It's not going to be perfect, but I just want to stress that, you know, when you're sewing and putting all of it together, there are points within this whole thing that still has to be matched. And one more thing that I wanted to point out to you is that I have points up here, right there, and down here, right? So I'm going to, it doesn't call for like a border, but I'm going to put like a 2 or 2.5 inch border on the side right here and on the side right here. And I'm still going to put the border that it calls for on top. I'm going to put that on. And the reason why I'm putting borders on the side is because I don't want to chop off my my points when I'm putting on a binding, right? So because I had a quilt that I did and it didn't call for borders and it was points on all the edges, and so when I got it back from the quilter and I put the binding on, I went from loving the quilt to really liking the quilt because the borders, I didn't do the border justice. And so, I mean, it's still a nice quilt. My kids use it, but it was just a lesson for me next time, even though it doesn't call for border, to put. So if you think it looks okay, maybe something you can incorporate in your sewing room that you would like to use or would like to do. So that's just my explanation. What I'm gonna do now is start sewing all of this. I'm gonna sew the left side first, and then I'm going to sew the right side. And after I'm done with the right, with the left and the right, I'm going to join it to the center. So once all this is done, I will now sew the borders on, because then I can get the right measurement for the whole entire quilt. And also don't forget, we still have to put the top on. So I'm going to sew the right and the left, then I'll put the border that goes on the top and the bottom, because mine is going to be a different measurement because I'm sewing borders on. So that's it, guys. I'm done. Thank you so much for sewing along with me, like I said. And we started this in November of 2022, and I don't think it takes this many months for a butterfly to hatch. By now it's hatched, it's flown away, and this is spring. This is a perfect time to complete this quilt. It is spring here in Texas, so I mean, go figure, it's a perfect time. I want to thank all of you for all your support, your comment, your questions. I think I try my best to reply to questions, comments as much as I can. But if you have any question that you would like to ask me, feel free to ask me. And also, in addition, I have started a Facebook page, and the Facebook page name is Kate's Crafting Nest on Facebook. So you will have to answer some questions, and typically I will be checking it. Now that I've told you, I will be checking it just about every other day or so to approve everyone. And I will also put picture of this quilt, will be my very first picture that will go on the Facebook page. That way, if you want to take a screenshot, like I said earlier, you will be able to do so from that page. When I am all done, I will take it outside and I will do a photograph on this quilt. But again, thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe down below. The next thing I'm going to do is show you how I'm going to put this together. This may be a little bit of a longer video because I'm going to work on the left side. I'm going to sew the entire thing so you can see. I'm going to try to match the points, and I'm also going to pin. Then I'll show you how I did that, and then I will do the right side as well. So this is it. So for this first part of the connection or assembling, as shall I call it, I'm going to pin right here where the points meet. I'm going to try to pin them there so I can make sure that my my assembly is lined up correctly. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pin them. Oh, there's a pin right there. So another one meet right there. I'm going to pin. And then pin right here. I'm not pinning on every point. I'm just pinning where my points meet, so that way I can line them up and it won't look jagged. I'm going to do it for a few of this just so you can see, and I will show you when they are all done. This is a rather big quilt, and if I don't finish it now, then I'll just kind of finish it in segments. So So this is what I was trying to say about the points matching up. See this part right here within the quilt, you will still have to match the parts. Like this seam right here still needs to match up with this seam. I don't think you can see that very well. Let me show you. So this seam up here, this seam right here, still needs to match up with this. Oh, there it goes. Perfect. Okay, so this seam right here still needs to match up with this seam within the quilt. So as I go on and find like a tip for you to pay attention to, this is example of what I was talking about earlier about matching the seam within the quilt. And then this is another one right here. This is a seam right here, and this is another seam right here. I mean, will it matter when it's all quilted? No, but I just want to point it out, so in case you have not start putting the entire quilt together, this is something that you need to keep in mind to make sure that you do get done. So this is the first part right now that is done, and I tried as much as possible to make them match, like right there, right here, this two right here. That's the seams that I was trying to match. So I'm going to put a third part together and I'm going to sew. And from here on out, I probably would do like fast forward it, so that way you don't sit here watching me sew for like ever. This is it right here, not sewn yet. And it looks a little rough right now. But all we have to do now is connect the last part. The last part is going to be on the right. I am doing the left wing first. So now that I'm going to connect this last part, then I'll sew the 3 segments together as stated in the book, okay? This is the 3rd segment in the quilt. So now all I'm doing is putting them together. I'm gonna stand up so you can see it. So the entire left side is done, okay? So I've sewn everything together and they look like this, okay? Even the HST, I managed to get them as much on point as I can have them, okay? So this is what they are looking like. The entire left is all put together at this point, okay? I'm going to put this back on the wall and I'm going to sew the right side the exact same way, okay? So here we are. I have put the top border, bottom border, left and right side borders on, and I've sewn all the pieces together. Yeah, it was work. Only because I strive to have all of these points lined up, right? And I want to talk a little bit about the top border. I mean, since I was using a lighter color as my background, if I use like a contrasting on the top border and the bottom border, I think my thought was that it would take away from the actual blocks and pattern of this quilt. For that reason, I used the Baby Geo from the Moon Garden line that came out earlier this year. I purchased 2.5 yards and cut what I needed per the pattern, right? And I went on ahead and put it on top and bottom. If I'm not sure, it's reading purple on the screen, but if you look at the little dots in there, it is got all of the colors that is in the pattern there. And I think it pulls it together without taking away from the actual blocks. And I did put a left and the right borders right there. As you can see, I didn't want to have to chop my edges off at the end after it's quilted. So I think it works out great for me. It gives me that floating effect that I was going for. And it's also right here on the right, okay? This quilt took up the entire texture-size design wall in my sewing room. It's a big quilt. And I want to also stress the reason why earlier in the video I talked about matching your seam and your points, I will show you what I was talking about when I say you have to pin, 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 and pin. Hold on. I think this pattern is so meticulously written that she thought about all this. This is just, I mean, for her to write the pattern this way, this is like pure genius right here. Because by the time you sew it as a quilter in your sewing room, she's already thought about that ahead of time. This right here, like it all lined up. So I think when the pattern was written, she thought about that, and also on the bottom too. This right here, also right here, matched up. And then this little line right here, matched up, okay? And I can say not all of it is perfect, but I put work into this to make it match. And at this point, if something is on the wrong spot or something doesn't look right, I'm willing to live with it because I put my best foot forward on this quilt, and because I wanted to do it justice. And just as she wrote this pattern so meticulously, I also wanted to do justice to it. And this is it. This is it, all done. It is a wrap, y'all. You're probably wondering why I'm wearing something different, right? So I ordered this piece right here, and it didn't come in the mail. So I had to go to my local quilt shop the next day to go purchase this and sew it on. And then as I was sewing the borders on, I sewed the borders to the wrong side. I sewed the borders up this way. So towards the end, a lot of things were just kind of like, okay, I wasn't getting it. So I got up, I left, and then came back the next day. This is something that you may have to do in your sewing room as well. Sometimes when something is not working, get up, go do something. So I got up, I took the kids, we went to the park, I went to the local quilt shop, I purchased that right there and sew it on, and now it is done. This is a wrap, right? So now it's going to, I've already called my quilter. I told her that I will be bringing this sometimes later next week. The next time you see this quilt, it'll be quilted. Let me show you what my backing looks like. I have this, right, as an option. And then I have this as another option. So I don't know if I want the yellow to be the backing or the pink to be the backing. I like them both, but I think the yellow will probably work. The pink is a little, I don't know. This is the recommended backing for this quilt. And I also purchased this in the 3-yard as well. This or this. I'll let you guys pick. The yellow. See, this is the recommended. And then this is the one I purchased because it was on sale at Packwater Shop during Christmas time. So I'll let you guys pick which one I should go with. Because right now, I can go either way. I don't know. It doesn't really, I don't know. I don't love them both. So I'm leaving this to you to help me pick my backing, right? I mean, after all, we started this together. I want you guys to have parts in this. So if I mess up, I can say, well, y'all help me do it. So there you go. Yep. So we are done. We are done with the butterfly quilt. So with that being said, I want to thank all of you for subscribing to my channel from day one. I hope that I have delivered on
what I promised. And at the beginning on the video, I said, well, if I mess up along the way, you guys will be here to see it. And I did mess up, but it is what it is. You go on. There was a lot of time that I have to unstitch and redo it, but at the end, this is not a perfect quilt, but it's a quilt. Perfect? No. Is it done? Yes. Is done better? It's done is better than perfect? Yes. So, anyways, I just want to thank you all for subscribing to my channel. I want to thank you for your comment. I want to thank you for your time also. And I hope that I have delivered value to helping you in your sewing room. If you feel that way, please don't forget to subscribe down below. And as I finish making my quilt, I hope you guys are working along and finishing your quilt. I have gone through all of the block step by step from block number 1 to the last block. I did the tutorial step by step and very slow through all of it. So if you want to go back and watch the videos, they are on YouTube on my channel and they're not going anywhere. So feel free, watch, binge watch, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.